Hi, hello, I'm Darby. Welcome to my channel. I've been having a fabulous summer, and I hope yours is going well too. For this week's snack, I want to talk about my favorite book I read this summer, maybe my favorite book I've read all year, and that is All Fours by Miranda July. Miranda July is that girl for me. I love that in this book, she can't do anything normally. She can't have a normal road trip. She can't be a normal mom. She can't have a normal heterosexual relationship. And to set the scene a little bit, I read this book during the back-to-back-to-back heat wave that happened in the Bay Area. The heat was oppressive, it was inescapable, and of course no one around here has air conditioning. It was hot, 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 hot. And I don't know if I could have designed better conditions for reading about Miranda July's adventures in microdosing divorce with her husband. It was sexy, it was sweaty, it was gross, it was erotic, it was about love, it was about dying. I did not know I needed someone to romanticize perimenopause, but Miranda July did it, and I really enjoyed it. There's also something very comforting in realizing that even people I think of as being free spirits, unburdened by everyday concerns, can also feel really trapped by their choices, and to know it's never too late to change things. I really enjoyed this book. I have not really been looking for criticisms of it, but if you didn't like this book, I would guess it's because you find it kind of boring to read about a rich, white, privileged woman whose biggest crisis is that she's just not happy enough. And I can sympathize with that a little bit. In this next segment, I want to talk about how Libby did one of my favorite things, which is to serve me two books in a row that deal with the same kind of topic matter, but handle them very, very differently. So I read The Vegetarian by South Korean author Han Kong, and then almost immediately after that, I read Butter by Asako Yuzuki. Now, both of these books feature female protagonists who change their diet in pretty dramatic ways. Both books really explore philosophy of food, food culture, diet culture, beauty standards for women, expectations for women. They both feature highly non-conforming women in very conservative, high conformity societies. And I really enjoyed watching how, as they changed their relationship to food, how this affected the relationships that they had with people. The Vegetarian is about a very average, very unremarkable housewife who one day decides to stop eating meat. The fallout from this seemingly small, innocent decision is massive. It negatively impacts her relationship with her husband, with her family, with everyone around her. This kind of surprised me because I thought it was going to be a very straightforward story about, someone escaping their small, tiny domestic sphere, but it is a much weirder story than that. It goes in a direction I could not have predicted. As for the book Butter, what's a quick summary of it? It's about Rika, who is a journalist, and she wants to be the first woman assigned to her newspaper's editorial desk, and she thinks she's going to get this by profiling a serial killer, and the serial killer has really captured the public's attention. Her name's Minako Kaji, and she's like kinda spooky. She's kind of like a Hansel and Gretel witch. She's this femme fatale that targets rich, comfortable men, and she lavishes them with care, attention, and these exquisite, decadent home-cooked meals. And her relationship continues until one day, these men die. And there are only so many heart attacks, accidents, and suicides that can be in your personal orbit before the police get suspicious and arrest you. Another layer of the public's fascination with Kaji is that no one believes that Kaji is attractive enough to lure these men to their deaths. Like, how could so many men be attracted to someone so average looking and so fat? So Rika, the journalist, attempts to get into the psyche of this very strange woman by doing some things that are normal, like interviewing the people in Kaji's life, visiting her hometown, really trying to create a biography of this person, to doing things that maybe test the bounds of ethical journalism. She's doing a little Truman Capote, she's doing a little In Cold Blood, she's getting maybe a little too close to her subject. So between the two, I personally preferred Butter by quite a lot. It's a much longer book. It's like 4 times as long, so there's more space for the book to talk about these subjects in a lot more depth, a lot more detail. The book also subverted my expectations in interesting and entertaining ways. Like I would expect a serial killer who kills men to like hate men, but Kaji actually adores men. She thinks of them as like little babies that need to be taken care of, and she's kind of a raging misogynist. When she meets Rika, the journalist, for the first time, one of the first things she says to Rika, the journalist, when she meets her for the first time, is that there are two things I cannot tolerate, and that's feminists and margarine. I also really liked the expansive transformation that Rika experienced. You know, she goes from this person that doesn't own any pots and pans, doesn't really think about food that much, and she starts to like develop a palate. She starts to have develop a taste for like the nicer things in life, and I like that. I like when women do a little self-improvement, pick up a new hobby. In stark contrast, in The Vegetarian, instead of a expansive transformation, the main character shrinks. Her already restrictive diet just gets more restrictive as the list of things that she will not eat just continues to grow. She literally wastes away before our very eyes. Everything about this person world just gets smaller and smaller. It's got kind of a claustrophobic feeling, and the plot itself is also pretty minimal. The Vegetarian is more about creating a very intense emotional atmosphere, and it's less about, you know, just getting through the plot points. So Butter felt more like reading a standard novel, and The Vegetarian felt more like reading a poem. I enjoyed both of these a lot. I think there are some obvious trigger warnings for eating disorders, some light body horror, so stay away from these books if those things bother you. I think that does it for this week's snack. Your gentle reminder to please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.